Alright, all praises and glory goes to Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem Yakarkodash, the one honors the elder, the DMS, who's pushing this truth with all truth and sincerity. Shalom. And, you know, uh, I just want to say this, that at my job that I work at, there was this guy, and he just gave me a, a he, the guy didn't give me a demonic feeling, man, but his tattoo that he was wearing, man, gave me a great it gave me uh, a sense of the demonic military, that's soon to come on, uh, or that's already here, in sheep's clothing, and to America, man, you know, the martial law troops and so forth. But when I seen his tattoo, it was a warrior that was kneeled down with his hand placed on a skull, and it wasn't manly. It was more like these pictures that I'm showing you can't describe. I tried to make it similar, but I couldn't describe it, man. It wasn't like it. The man who was the soldier that had his hand on the skull, man. It wasn't human. It was more like a damn monster. That had his hand on a skull, and he was dressed in like martial law type armor, medieval type armor, man. It wasn't regular armor, but it gave off the vibration of uh being ruthless and destroying enemies like a war god, man. And the way that he looked, man, it was more like it wasn't human, and it was more like a war vibration, man. You know, and these pictures don't do any justice, But I mean, it was very demonic how he had his tattoo, man, and I kept looking at it, but not trying to make it obvious, and he kind of like caught me looking at his tattoo, man, and he started to like feel weird, man. But it gave me more like how the martial law troops are gonna uh be coming in and killing, man, merciless, man. And more like demonic, man. you know and the way that this thing looked on his arm, man, was more like if he worshipped a demonic warrior, satanic god, man. you know that's gonna be killing and being doing all manners of wickedness and evil, man. And it's crazy to me because there's a lot of stuff going out about uh witchcraft and how people are selling their bodies and stuff to the industry to get money and fame, and how everything in America is circled around pleasures and fun and being stupid, man. Because if you look, which I know you brothers have TikTok, but if you look on TikTok and you see how careless and how mirth these people are, man, they don't give heed to that this place is considered is it's based around witchcraft, man. And basically the witches and warlocks if we was in the ancient world, that would be put to death. They are highly esteemed in America, man. America, the witches and warlocks in America are lifted up, man. They are considered as celebrities, but really they should be put to death, man. You know, they should be put to death, man. But witches and warlocks are looked at as extreme gods and goddesses and so forth, man. Which shows you this world is flipped upside down. But the tattoo that he had, man, gave me a real murderous uh God warlike vibration, man. You know, a merciless vibration, man. Which we know that these troops, they're gonna come in and start killing and being merciful and doing all wickedness. But his tattoo gave me more like satanic, man, evil, not having no feelings, no mercy whatsoever, man. You know, and just doing all manners of wickedness, man. It was like wickedness. If I could describe it, it was like wickedness in one tattoo. You know, but you know, as I see that, there's a video that I want y'all brothers to watch because it kind of, it kind of gave me like, it kind of helps me out, man. You know, so I want y'all to watch this video real quick.
Individuals. When I started dealing with ritually individuals, then we dealt with military-oriented, highly trained, programmed and inside of them. When we began to deal with them, I dealt with someone from Fort Bragg for quite a while and a few others. We were sitting in a lake, Conneaut Lake. They reached over and ripped open my shirt to see if I was wired, if I was wiring and recording them. They were the most sophisticated, satanic warrior type person. They knew 5, 6.
And when he says, sophisticated warrior type personality, that's the type of vibration that I got. That describes the exact vibration that I got off of seeing that tattoo, man. You know, and
languages. They knew the ancient Twilight languages. They knew how to conjure. They knew how to use Belteshazzar, Okwam, all these old Pictish languages of the Druids to summon. They are the real Luciferian. They've been through many human things. So they sat there to tell me some of those things, what they've been involved with, how they sacrifice a human. I'm listening to all this stuff from them. And then they said,
and dealing with satanic these satanic and demonic cults, you know, they have to do all types of manners of wickedness, man. All types of homosexual acts, all types of sexual immorality, all types of homosexual, gay behavior, drugs. You know, they gotta get down and dirty, man. You know, and these are considered as high level warlocks and witches, man. You know, because these witches and these warlocks, they get dirty, man. They get nasty, man. Even dealing with down to feces and piss, man. You know, even it goes deeper, even drinking children's blood, man. You know, and let's be honest, man. You know, you brothers or myself probably heard Future said in one of his songs, you know, adrenochrome, you know, which you can only get that from scaring the mess out of children and draining the blood from them as they're producing these I think chromosomes or as they produce it in their blood. I don't know if it's chromosomes or what, man, but they produce adrenochrome in their blood, and it gets them real high and real it's like a super expensive drug, man. You know, and I'm pretty sure it's more expensive than any drug on the planet, because you're taking children away from their homes and you're scaring the living piss out of them to where you drain their blood, man. You know, and it's supposed to get you real high, man. But yeah, man, our people are wrapped up in Esau's satanic society that he has made on this planet Earth, man. You know, and they love it here. They don't want to see America burn for all of its impurities that it has produced, man. You know, because they're mixed up in the folly, in the witchcraft that America has pushed on the planet Earth, man. You know.
You have no idea, Russ, how many of us there are.
And this is fair use for educational purposes only.
Out there. how many satanic chosen ones. You have no idea how many. You have no idea what's coming. We smell Christian. We are waiting for our day. When the call is given, millions of us will be released. And they looked at me and said, you believe in revivals?
And when he says when the call is given, many of them are gonna be released, man. And we already know how satanic and retarded some people are, man. So why wouldn't the satanic side have a chosen one of darkness, man, of evil ones, man, super demonic evil ones, man? You know, they do, you know. And when he says millions of us is gonna be released, you know, what reminds me of that is when all hell breaks loose and martial law is in place, man. You know, and shit is shut down. You know, lawlessness is in full effect, man. You know, and chaos ensues on the planet Earth.
And you believe in Pentecost and the power of God. You believe in all that. We believe in the Black Awakening, a multi-continental release of power to activate the program Demonized, where they've the demonic powers to these super soldiers. I do
Exactly, man. The black awakening, man. You know, the Black Awakening, man. The where power is given to these soldiers, man, to go and carry forth the NWO. You know, so enough of that. I'm gonna let y'all finish and watch it. Well, let me, yeah. I'm gonna let y'all.
believe that millions and millions of these trained, programmed, altered, demonized super soldiers, whether we want to say it or not, they believe they're being raised to help bring the Antichrist in. When I was in England just a few months ago, their top guy that deals with SRA, Wilfred Wong, first time I meet him, I pull him aside and I said, listen, you've been doing this 25 years, yeah? I said, you know all about programming and demons, all that? Yes. I looked right at him and I said, Wilfred, why are they here in England? Instantly, he said, they're here to our government. They're here to help bring in and usher in the Antichrist and a new order. That's true in Germany when we were in Germany, when we went to Wadelsburg Castle. That's true in Poland when we went there. That's true in Switzerland. It's true in Canada. When we talk about our research in 38 years worldwide, there may be well over 100 million generations of them. If even half, or even if 10% were intact, like say the United States, remember the in Vegas? Look what he did. What if 10,000 of them were released in 1 week? That's their plot plan and biblical prophecies ahead of that to say, here is what is going to happen. And from that, a global monetary collapse. And from that, all that chaos is coming. So Revelation 13, a whole new order with the Antichrist can come. The secular world, they're registering, millions coming in for diagnosis on that. Now, they don't know how to handle the satanic side. I'm going to tell you just straight out, after 38 years of dealing with it, not only is SRA real here in the United States, that there are millions of victims by design, that there's now generations of them. We deal with 65 and 70-year-olds. They're the first generation. Then we go to 40-year-olds and 20-year-olds. I got 8-year-olds and 12-year-olds we're dealing with. Because if you don't stop this somewhere, they do it to the next generation. That's by design. That's the way it's supposed to be for them. But it occurs in selection. It's generational. They bring a lot of to the child to cause split in personality so that they can demonize and or begin to program. You're going to be a witch, you're going to be a conjurer, you're going to be a programmed. All kinds of these things happen. They're raised in that system. They're raised to keep all of that hidden down till later on. Millions have already showed up at psych wards all across America since the late 70s to this day. It's all about their unsatiable God. Anything they can do to humanity, innocence, as in a God in a sense.
So, as y'all heard it from your souls, man. This goes in deep, man. We don't know what Esau, gets into, on the left hand side, but we know the gist of it, man. And it's just wickedness, man. It's just wickedness, man. And Yahweh Bashim Yahushua is about to end the wickedness, man. Because they worship the left hand, they worship Satan on the left hand side, but Yahweh Bashim Yahushua deals with both sides, man. How and it's funny because no matter how evil that they can be, man, they're still scared of the right hand side, man. They're still scared of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, man. Because Yahweh Bashim Yahushua has a dark side too, man. And his dark side is unbeatable, man. you know? So I'm going to get 2 or 3 scriptures. I'm not going to be long with this. This is 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 8. Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversaries, the devil, walketh about as a roaring lion, seeking who he may devour, man. You know, as it shows in as that man told us, that they're waiting until basically a collapse, man, to where they can bring in, they said the Antichrist, but basically the New World Order, man. You know, when there's a lawless time out here, man, and chaos is being ensued on the planet Earth, you know. This is Daniel chapter 12 and 1. At that time, the great prince who protects your people, which is Israel, will rise up. There will be a time of distress such as has not happened from the beginning of nations until then. So it's going to be a great time that hasn't in NLT it says then any since nations first came to existence, going back, then there will be a time of anguish greater than any since nation which nation first came into existence. So they're going to be an anguish time, man. And anguish just means a harsh, a bad time, man. You know, I'm going to look it up real quick. It means severe mental or physical pain or suffering, man. You know? But at that time, your people, Israel, which is the elect, man, everyone whose name is found written in the book will be delivered, man. So everybody who's found written in the book of life, everybody who's found being the elect from the foundations of the earth, before the earth was ever begun, man, these people have been chosen. Their destiny has been chosen before the earth was even created, man, to be these people who names are written in the book of life, man, to get delivered, man. So this time is gonna be bad, man, because Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua is gonna send Michael, man, the head of the army of heaven, man. You know, he's basically what the Michael the basically the general, man, of the armies of heaven, man. You know. So Michael's gonna have to stand up for people, man, because while physically it's gonna get real physical, man, there's gonna be a spiritual side to it, man. And Michael's gonna defend the nation of Israel, which are the elect, you know, because they 2/3 they're not considered as Israel no more. They're gonna be cut off, you know, but they're gonna come back in the loins of the elect, man, you know, in the kingdom of heaven. But they're going to be protected in this time to come. And this is Isaiah chapter 59, verse 19. So shall they fear the name of the Lord from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against them, man. And what is that, man? A standard is a way to defend, man, to escape, man, you know. And you know, Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua is gonna bestow spiritual power upon his select individuals, man, whoever he selects, man, to lift up a standard, man, to lift up a defense, you know, from this evil as man and his empire of witches and warlocks, man, you know, and conjurers and summoners and so forth, man, you know, because this man has an army on the left hand side, man, you know. He has a high level witches and warlocks, you know, that he used at his disposal, man, you know. So, you know, I hope this lesson was edifying. You know, we are in these times, man, where things is about to get even dire, man, you know, and we're gonna need Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai to protect us, man. We're gonna need Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai to step in and bring send forth Michael on the planet Earth, man, because we're gonna need Michael in these times to come, man. You know, and then eventually we're gonna need Yahushai to deliver us, man, because no flesh will be saved. You know, when it comes to these heathens ruling the planet Earth, you know. So I like to give all praises and glory to Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai by Hashem Yakokodash, double and honors to the elders of GMS who's pushing this truth with all truth and sincerity. Shalom.